Hey folks, Studio here. So today's going to be a little different, and if you jump to the gameplay right away, you're in for a surprise. So normally I would do a replay, I would go ahead and look at one replay. Today I want to look at one part of the game, and that is team fighting. Now team fights are weird, so I don't want to focus on them normally, because they're chaotic, there's so much just shit going around that I'm going to try just look at them only rather than in the context of a full replay. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to go ahead, show some team fights. I'll show them in a normal pace, just normal 1x speed, and then we'll look at them with some slow motion and some zooming in, so I can explain what's going on and what the teams could have done better. Now, I'll have a little recap at the end, going over some of the concepts that you can kind of pick up on, and if you really want to learn them, I would recommend just rewatching the video actually. But right now, just going to focus on the replay themselves. And before that, I have a couple of announcements. One, so Friday, or for next Friday, I want to do a replay with a gimmick, and the gimmick is having a shred team. So I want a team where all 5 members can shred either MR or MR. By shred, I mean reduce. So Nidalee can reduce MR, Kog'Maw can reduce MR and armor, well, Nidalee can reduce armor too. But the idea is I want 5 members of a team who can all reduce the same stat. You can send me replays at studio@leagueofstudio.com, and well, yeah. So to quickly set up this first replay, it's an example and not what I'm going to do for the rest of the replay. But this was a game where the enemy team on blue side had a very odd team, 3 AP casters, Leona, and no real physical damage. So their late game, not too strong. They had Udyr, but Udyr's kind of hybrid. And then purple side was top Twitch, mid Rumble, and just kind of goofy overall. This was a fight where Leona had just died, and purple side was picking up Baron as a response, and because the blue side was out of position. So this is just an example replay to show what I'm going to do, and then I'll set up the next series of teamfight replays. Okay, let's hop in. So here purple side is doing Baron. It's relatively safe. They saw Akali at bot. They don't have Twitch with them, but Leona's dead. So right now, Lux blows her ult on the team. Rumble is going to go for Lux and kill her. And Udyr is going for a steal, barely misses it, and dies in the process. At this point, Akali and Twitch have both shown up. Akali's getting focused down by Twitch. Heimerdinger is zoning out the team from chasing him. Lee Sin goes after Heimer. The rest of the team goes after Akali. Akali is going to die. She barely survives that ult, but dies to the smoke screen. And Lee Sin dies to Leona and Heimerdinger. Now, how that should have gone is a bit different. So, first of all, doing Baron, risky, but Leona dying was big. Blowing that ult was a bad idea because it only hit one of us, and they could have used that for at least a Baron steal attempt. Hotshot did not expect me to charge at him, I'm guessing, and dies because of that. And then a Baron steal, well, sometimes it just doesn't work out. At this point, Chaucer should just be leaving. We have all of us up. We are full health almost. I don't think we even used that many ults in that little exchange, but he kind of goes in. So he should have escaped by flashing over that wall. Instead, he goes to Twitch and flashes away. That's going to get him killed because we can chase over, through creeps much easier than over a wall. At this point, Bruce Lee should not be chasing Heimer because Leona's up, but, well, he dies. It's kind of funny, honestly, but Heimer is really scary, so watch out for him. Hey folks, Studio here. So teams were pretty standard for this next section. All the replays, or all the fights, are from the same replay. So you'll learn who's on both sides. The only characters who really got out of hand were both Renekton and Corki. So Renekton for purple side, Corki for blue side. Aside from that, both teams are very standard. I don't really want to go into detail actually because you can recognize both teams, and you can easily have seen yourself on either side of the team, I'm guessing. I'm hoping, actually. So let's hop into these next replays. So in this fight, Renekton's going to get caught out by Yorick. Now, that's just unfortunate. I mean, it was not a safe route, and he took it. So my advice there is don't get caught. Alistar goes to save him. So does Malzahar. Then Malzahar is going to go for Corki. Not a good idea. He pays for it. This turns into a tower push, though. And Sivir flashes away to not die. And no side really has any mana right now. If they try and push, they're relying mostly on auto attacks, Yorick spells, and maybe a Nocturne CC. They have really just no resources. Sona ults, Alistar counter ults, but no fight really starts. And there's a very special reason for that. So, even though Ahri's shown up, nothing really happens. So, Renekton getting caught, once again, don't do it. But be careful when you save teammates who are caught, because if you die, it may not be worth it, because you now have somebody who's low, and you're dead too. So, Alistar actually does a really good job about this. He keeps out Yorick, and he gets a good stun on Kassadin. Malzahar also gets a really good silence on most of the enemy team. He even hits Kassadin, so that's going to be a little more time. But he goes in, and this is just suicide. You got to be careful when you go in. He actually ults Corki for half a second there, but immediately breaks it, and he's going to die. Now, at this point, why did that fight not start? What caused them to not engage? Well, even though Sona gets an ult on both Alistar and Renekton, which is pretty good, she makes a mistake of engaging a fight when her team has no mana. If they dive there, they're relying on ghouls for all of their spells pretty much. And Alistar ults, and the reason the fight doesn't start there is because he has no mana. He just doesn't have the mana to do anything. And I find that really funny that pretty much both sides of that team fight did not start because of mana. So at this point, Renekton is going to get relatively caught out again. He sees that ward get placed, and he knows to book it. He runs towards his team, and he's chased by Kassadin and Yorick. Kassadin gets caught, dies. Yorick gets caught, ults himself, dies. And now half the team from purple side chases Corki and Nocturne, and Sivir has to run away to avoid dying, and is killed by Yorick Ghost, actually. And then nobody dies at this point. Both parts of the team just kind of split up. Sona ult, kind of wasted. I mean, nothing was really happening, but neither side really has any resources to do anything right now. So what should have happened in that fight is Kassadin should not have face checked. This is just suicide. If you're a squishy caster, don't go first. Yorick was doing a ghoul check. That was great. Ghoul checks are awesome because they're not suicide. But Alistar gets a great stun on both Yorick and Kassadin. And the fight actually could have gone a little better for purple side. Sivir didn't need to die. So, A, she should have backed up a little bit right now. But I don't think anybody would have really expected the follow-up Yorick did. So, at this point, Sivir is exhausted. Yorick Ghost comes back up, and she runs away. Alistar does not attack Yorick, which actually would have saved Sivir because he has Ignite, or a red buff on him. So Sivir dies for pretty much no reason. Alistar could have saved her. So this is a push from blue side coming out to purple side. A quick tab shows Malzahar and Renekton are both dead. So great time to push is when the enemy has dead champions. Because they're dead. They cannot respond to you. So they're going to push forward and they're going to go for a team fight. And it's going to go wrong. Now even though they've got some great poke on, Sivir is almost dead and had to heal. Renekton and Malzahar are both respawning, and the fight goes pretty chaotic. So Alistar gets his stun off, knocks Yorick back. Ahri shows up and is able to just deal some damage. He just cleans up. Corki tries to go back at a bad position, gets killed by Ahri. Oops, guns and bombs. Guns and bombs. Now, looking back at that fight, I understand the engagement. They actually had a lot of reasons to want to start a fight there. Ahri had just missed her CC. They had 2 people dead. It would have been an okay place to start a fight, except the person starting the fight should not have started it. So, first of all, it's Kassadin going in. Now, this is bad just because Kassadin does not have a whole lot of HP. He gets tickled a bit by Ahri, but that tower is dealing a lot of damage. He also had to silence Alistar to prevent his CC, so that kind of blew his burst. Sona gets a great ult off on Alistar, but the team sticks around. They're in tower range, and once the tower gets aggro, they're going to start taking a lot of damage. Corki is stunned by Alistar while tanking the tower. Nocturne actually blocks it with his shield, so good job on him. And Yorick is punted out. I like this because Nocturne isn't that tanky right now, and that's one less tanky dude to take the tower for them. So Nocturne ends up getting picked off, and Corki, that's just kind of dumb. Just don't do that. So with this fight, we have just both teams walking into each other. Corki starts a fight out by just Valkyrieing in. I don't like that. Very risky. Alistar is kind of doing some weird sort of zoning game, and then Malzahar is being chased by Nocturne. Nocturne's being chased by everyone else, and we just have a chaotic team fight. Everyone's killing everybody. This is just one of those clusterfucks where you don't really know what's going on. At real-time speed, it's just a bunch of dudes attacking each other in pretty animations and health bars everywhere. And then I love the ghoul bug popping up. Ahri comes in, cleans everything up. The fight is over. Corki's getting yelled at for not showing up. How should that fight have gone? Well, Corki shouldn't have backed, but we'll look at that in a sec. So, the fight starts off with Renekton and Nocturne kind of tickling each other. Nothing too big going on there. And then the Valkyrie from Corki. I don't like it, but it works because the enemy team does not respond. So, Corki Valkyrie's in. Malzahar actually gets his pull off on him. He doesn't try to do any other damage though. He waits. And in that moment of hesitation, the chance to kill Corki is gone. He could have ulted, he could have E'd, would have been just enough to get him. So then now, Corki is being zoned out by Alistar. He's extra scared of him, which I don't agree with because he just uses spells, but he backs off. Malzahar is being chased by Nocturne. Nocturne is being chased by the enemy team. That part is still chaotic and awesome. So it's just kind of a DPS race, lots of spell effects. Nocturne gets CC by Renekton. Malzahar is exhausted though. Both players are pretty much screwed. So Sona gets her ult off just on Renekton. I don't like that. I think she should have waited. She was going for Malzahar too, I guess, but he was so close to death it really didn't matter. Now, blue side does react well. They're going for Sivir now. You can tell because her HP bar is going down. I'm not trying to be condescending, it's just really tricky. And Renekton goes for Kassadin, who actually gets caught out. So, Yorick Ghost dies. Sivir is still up, Kassadin is dead. Sivir ends up dying to just the Yorick damage. And Corki doesn't go to the fight. The reason for this is he was scared of Ahri showing up. But because he never showed up, Ahri comes in and kills everybody. He should have shown up, but tried to evade Ahri once she tried to kill him. Now, this fight, it starts out with just kind of some weird scouting. Now, face checking a bush is not a good way to start a fight, but it's an okay way if you're tanky and you can take the damage. So Yorick is just in the middle of everybody. Nocturne's on Ahri. Sivir's attacking a ghost. Corki goes after Sivir. It's just melting her. Amazing damage coming out from that Corki. Yorick's chasing down Ahri. Switches to Sivir when she realizes he can't catch him. Nocturne gets melted by the tanky DPS on purple side. And the fight is just kind of spreading out now. Corki kind of backing off from Alistar. Malzahar tries to kill Corki. Ends up paying for it with a really weird flash. And Yorick is getting chased down by Alistar and Renekton. Not a very common combination to see. Now, that fight, of course, could have gone differently. There were a few key mistakes. So, it starts out normally. I mean, face checking a bush, bad way to start a fight, but Yorick does it, so that's okay because Yorick's pretty good at doing that. So, he actually dodges Ahri's Q, which is great. And the big thing is, Alistar misses his stun. So now they have Yorick in the middle of everybody. They're going to have Nocturne in the middle of everybody. And they don't have any way to control them. Sivir comes in. She's attacking that ghost. That Sivir... That's kind of silly, Sivir. Don't do it. And Corki responds very well by going after Sivir. If you're a carry and you can hit their carry before they can react, kill them.
you will do so much damage. So at this point, Nocturne is chasing Ahri away, so is Yorick. Nocturne's just going to get caught up by Renekton though, and Malzahar. He just doesn't have the movement speed, and they have the CC. Now, Yorick finally stops chasing Sivir to kill, or Ahri to kill Sivir, which is good. And then the fight just kind of spreads out. Kassadin is chasing Ahri, that's fine. Kassadin can chase Ahri. He's one of the few characters that can. Corki gets kind of CC'd by Alistar, but ends up going for Malzahar, which is fine. And then they don't really keep chasing because both sides are kind of low, both sides are kind of scared. And at that point, they might have been able to save Yorick, Ahri might have been able to get a kill off, but it was good for both sides to disengage there.
So, things to look at from these replays. Who are you attacking? If you are a tanky dude, are you attacking their carries? If you're a squishy dude, are you attacking somebody who is A, accessible, and B, important? In that last replay, for example, Sivir was attacking Yorick's Ghost. Not that important. However, Corki attacking Sivir, very important. Corki pushing away Alistar, that's also important. You want to attack somebody as a carry who is both accessible and important. So important can be someone like Sona. If Sona hasn't ulted and you can kill her before she's ulted, that's huge. That's a huge CC gone. Now, if Sona has ulted, and you have the choice between her and a caster, kill the caster. I mean, whatever, Sona. Yeah, sing your songs. You're not really doing that much now that you've blown your sweet ass hole. And this is just true of most team fights, most characters. You need to go for who you can get, and you need to go for someone important. How many team fights have you lost because your Renekton, your Udyr, your whatever just kept chasing, going for that carry? If you can't do it, you can't do it. The optimal situation is your carries are attacking their carries, your tanky dudes are keeping their tanky dudes off of you, and your carries aren't taking response fire. Now that rarely happens. What you want to do is make sure your tanky dudes can survive their carries and make sure their tanky dudes are not killing your carries. So, not really any overarching theme for this one, but next time you're in a team fight, focus on who you're attacking, who is important. If you notice that you're not attacking someone important, switch targets. You don't want to be that guy attacking the Yorick with 500 HP but a million armor and MR, ignoring the Ezreal next to him that's carrying like crazy. Alright, so this is Studio saying adios. I hope you learned something. And if you like this, tell me, because this was very, very different for me. And I don't know if I should give this another shot. So, adios, folks.